Hey guys, into the end here. I want to do a draft video for you today. I've been wanting to do more draft videos actually. It's just that I didn't feel very comfortable or confident with the post omens drafting format. I thought it was a bit tricky, and I wanted to give myself some time to learn the format better and do more drafts before I make more videos. So I've devoted the first couple of weeks of this month to doing a lot of drafts, and I've gotten myself into masters. And at this point, I am fairly familiar with the format, and I feel a little more confident in sort of not teaching, but sort of sharing with you the things that I've learned. So let's jump into a draft together. Oh wow, it's really hard to cast Heart of the Vault in limited, but this is clearly going to be our pick. We don't even have to look at the rest of the pack. This card is crazy powerful, both in constructed and in draft. If the Heart of the Vault was not in the pack, though, I think my favorite cards in this pack would be the Noble Firemane, and the Mortar being my two favorite cards, followed by Icequake and Snapping Brushstalker. The Snapping Brushstalker is actually very good. I like it a lot, except those odd games where your opponent do have a couple of spells, you do suffer from a really significant tempo loss. But if you're somehow able to draft a Predatory Instinct to give it killer, or Zen Initiation to give this thing killer, then it's really hard to beat this card. So it's got a very high upside, and it's also got a potentially very high downside when you're losing the game and you need to block and you cast this card. Noble Firemane is fantastic. Early game 2 mana of 2/2. It does something early game, can attack and a block, but then it does a lot in the late game as well. So I think this card is very powerful, but Praxis is my least favorite archetype. I think Praxis is actually pretty weak and risky to get into, because I think some of the best cards in both time and in fire are in the second pack. And it's actually really difficult to gauge whether those things will be open or not in the second pack. So it's kind of a risk diving deep into Praxis in the first pack. And Icequake is an incredibly powerful card, but it's a 7-drop, and I pretty much never start my draft with a 7-drop. Although I say that, I start my draft with a 6-drop here. So let's go ahead and take that. Let's see. If we want to play this card, we're going to be in Praxis, which I really don't like. So I think I will have to evaluate based on the maybe 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th pick of this pack to see if Praxis is open on the 1st and 3rd pack. And I do want to keep myself open and make sure that I'm not locked into Praxis just because I got this card. So I want to be able to move off of Praxis if I have to. I think my favorite card in this pack is Mortar. I like Mortar quite a bit. I like Extract a lot. So Mortar and Extract, basically I like the 2 removal spells the most. And if the 2 removal spells weren't here, I like the Sparring Partner quite a bit. I just want 2 drops that does something. And it's very important to have 2 drops that does things in your deck, because otherwise you just lose when someone plays a turn 2 Lethrai Ranger or something like that. Varus Choice is also very good. But I'm also not a huge fan of Zenin as well. Once again, I do think the most powerful cards, especially for time, I think in order to draft Zenin, you have to have pretty much a core time-based deck splashing a bit of Shadow. I would probably take, if I was going to be in Zenin colors though, I would probably just take the Extract over the Varus Choice. So, we can maybe play Mortar and splash it. I know that's very ambitious. We can splash blue and play Mortar with this card, or we can splash Shadow and play Varus Choice. But if we pick Extract, then we absolutely are not splashing it. So why don't we go ahead and take up the Mortar? Even without Heart of the Vault, I'm still a very big fan of Mortar. So let's just grab that and see where we go. Another Extract. So this I don't think is a sign that Praxis is open. This is not a very good card. I think the fact that Extract is still here is some indication that Shadow may be open, and the Cyclops is also quite good. I think my two favorite cards from this pack is these two right here, followed by the Fencing Master and the Stranger, just for the fixing. So, considering what we picked first and second, none of these cards make any sense. Maybe Mortar, but um, we're hoping that the Primal here is a splash. So none of these cards will work with what we picked first two. So let's just ignore the first two cards and pick the best card here. And I think the best card is Extract. So let's just go ahead and take that and keep ourselves open. If you watch my previous videos, I like to be open for the first 3 or 4 picks and just pick the most powerful card in the pack, because you don't really get to see what's open anyway until you get to 4th or 5th pick. And hopefully by then there'll be a clear sign of what's open. Okay, so it appears that there's no red card here, and there was also no good red card the last pack, or the pack that we opened. This is not a card, so the fact that this card is still here may indicate to us that green is open, because both the sparring partner is decent, and this is a green rare. And I think this card is quite good as well in draft, because it's a revenge and you can search out another unit. So this gives you a bit of card advantage. So I think green is definitely open based on what we see in this pack. I'm not sure about time, because unless you're forcing Life Force as early as pack 1, and I don't think it's a good idea, these cards can go quite late. And by the way, do not force Life Force decks on pack 1. It's far too risky, and very often it doesn't come together. And because we have Extract already, Auric Bully is also a fine pick if we want to go into green, because green does look open. But I think what I'll do is I'll pick this green rare, because I feel like green is open, and green is also my favorite color, so I'm okay picking this card here. So it doesn't look like we're going to be playing Heart of the Vault, because time is clearly not open in this pack, and neither is red particularly good, so I don't want to get locked into this. The Mortar is also not looking likely, because red is simply just not very good. And unless I pick up some very, very good red or blue cards early, I don't have a reason to dive into it. Whereas green appears to be quite open. All of these cards are playable. Buckler is actually quite fine. This is a very good top end for green, so we're going to go ahead and take it. The kind of scary thing about this draft is that we started with very high casting cost cards, and what we really need now is some low casting cost cards, like Strength of Many. But with that said, there's a bunch of Praxis cards here. Seeing Praxis cards like this indicates to me that Praxis is open, but I'm not convinced that Time and Fire individually are open. Someone could be drafting a Fire X deck, and another person could be drafting a Time X deck. In which case, if you're not going to get the quality Time and Fire cards anyway, you can't rely on drafting a Praxis deck just by picking up the multi-faction cards like this, even though this is a very good one. But Strength of Many is good enough that I would pick it up. This is the reason to be in green. In draft, I find that many games are determined by combat, and having very cheap tricks like this will often blow out the opponent and give you wins. Yeah, green is very, very open. My second color is still up for debate though, because this Extract does not lock me into black. I could go green red splash blue or green blue splash red. I can't play Heart of the Vault, unfortunately. Between these two cards, I think the High Branch Sentry has a slightly higher upside. The Tireless Stranger is very good, but a lot of players use Strangers for fixing, and because I haven't picked up any, I think I kind of fear that this card may be benefiting my opponent more than it benefits me. And the Sentry often will get turned on if you're playing green and you draft some Mentors. So let's just go ahead and grab the High Branch Sentry. Zenin cards always go pretty late as well. So here I have a choice to make. I can pick up the Stranger, which opens me up to the blue splash if I need it. This is just a very solid turn 2 play, but the Skywalk Instructor is also very good. And this would lead me into going green, blue, splashing red, and we can just forget the extract. But I think I'm going to go with one of the 2 mana spells just because I like my curve to be low, and my curve right now it's pretty even across the board from 2 to 6, and I don't think that's a good place to be. So I think it's going to be between the Talon or the Stranger. And I'm going to go with the Stranger. I know that Talon is a pseudo removal spell, but uh, I really, really like fixing, and I really like the idea of potentially being able to splash a mortar. And if this Skywalk Constructor being here tells me that blue might be open on the third pack. So let's just do this and give ourselves the most options on the next 2 packs. Yeah, so blue is still open. And I'll take the Ice Bowl over the 0/7. I don't like units with the 0 attack. I know they block very well, but I generally like to play semi-aggressive decks, and I don't like sitting around with very, very defensive units like this. And the Ice Bowl is very good. Okay, so this land is going to help us splash mortar. So extract is out of here. Yeah, this is fine. We still get the 0/7. So I think things are going really well. I think we've correctly identified that green is open and blue is open. Red, I can't tell if red's open or not. We saw a bunch of red cards, but they were all very bad. But I think mortar is very splashable because we have this for fixing already, which means we can add more fire sigils into our deck, and this is also giving us red. So deck is looking shaping up pretty well. Too bad this is a double red. We can't splash this. Mirror Image has a very, very high upside, but it's very conditional. Whereas the Finest Hour is almost always good because you know there will be combat, and every time you cast this spell, it's always a blowout. So this has a potential higher upside if you're able to create something that is very strong. But this is more consistent and is always, always good. What can we abuse with Mirror Image? I mean, right now we don't have any amazing cards to copy. We can maybe copy the Press Gang and search for another 1-drop, but we don't even have 1-drops at this point. I'm actually just gonna go to take the Finest Hour. I really like consistency, and I really like Finest Hour as a card. Wow, yeah, this is great. We are gonna slam this Valkyrie Enforcer. This card is fantastic. 3 mana, 3/3 flying on its own is already quite good, and having the ability to silence is just icing on the cake here. This is a slam dunk. I don't think I would consider anything else remotely close to it here. Okay. This is actually a very good splash card. And this is actually not a bad splash card as well. We have so few blue cards at the moment. We have only the Mortar and the Ice Bowl. I wonder if we're still open to another second color, because we don't need to play the Mortar if we don't have to. We don't need to. I mean, we only have 2 cards. Is anything else here worth taking though? Perhaps not. I do like the Lumen Shepherd quite a bit, but we know for a fact that time is not open on the 3rd pack, and we still don't know if time is open this pack. So it's kind of a risk jumping into it now. Whereas Assembly Line is actually a perfectly fine splash card, I think. Or we can take the Elysian Banner and keep ourselves open to a time or blue as a second color. Because if we go Justice and Time, we can splash the Ice Bowl and we can just forget the Mortar. Let's take the Assembly Line, see where that takes us. Wow, a Flame Blast. That's kind of pushing me towards playing green Recano instead. If we stay blue, Static Bolt is perfectly fine. If you want to jump into time, this is fine, but we haven't seen any other. We haven't seen the really good time cards, which is basically the dinosaurs, the 5/4, the 6/5, the undercosted fatties. Is the reason you want to be in time, and we haven't seen any of those. So that's pushing me away from time. Um, but this flame bass and this assembly line is pushing me towards red because we can still splash the mortar. Right, we get rid of the ice bowl. We go green red, and then we just splash blue for the mortar. Actually, we can still splash blue for the bowl. You know what? Flame Blast is good enough that I'm going to go ahead and do that. Ooh, that's a very good time card. And that's also a very good reason to be green in time. That's a very late awakened student. So if we stay green, we take the Loyal Watchwing. If we are still kind of not sure, we can take Awakened Student because turn 2 Awakened Student is very, very powerful. But that also means all of these cards that we picked are no good anymore. But I think there's a probability that we will pick up another Awakened Student on pack 4. And this late Lumen Defender is telling me that time is open on this time around. Alright, so I am flip-flopping back and forth a lot, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Awakened Student because the alternative is I take the Loyal Watchwing, and not having a Loyal Watchwing is not that big of a downside. So let's just go ahead and take this. Oh yeah, Flighted Lieutenant is very good. This card is it's kind of a bomb. If you survive to 7 mana, and you have a bit of a board stall, this card will break you out of it and instantly win you the game. Okay. Blue is open. Strangers with flying. Okay, so time seems to be open on this direction. So let's just go with time because I do think the Awakened Student is a very powerful card. And because we're so low on 2s, I would like to play the Awakened Student if possible. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. We are still open to a blue splash though because we picked up this Horus Stranger. But I think I'll take the Acolyte because whatever we want to splash, this Acolyte is going to be able to get us the land that we need. Do I want this land? I don't think I want this land, but I don't want to Levitate either. If I splash blue, the Levitate can be quite good. Alright, let's just take the Levitate and then hide it. This is a perfectly fine playable 2-drop. 2 mana 2/3s are very good. Well, not very good. It's perfectly playable. I can put in a Steadfast Deputy just so that I can search it out with the Crown Watch Press Gang. Synchronized Strike is very good. It's a very good combat trick, especially in a deck that's gonna be unit heavy. I think having tricks like that is really good. I'm gonna first pick this Minotaur Oathkeeper. I find this card to be incredibly powerful. It makes all of your equal cost creatures compared to theirs one bigger. So if you both are playing 2 mana 2/2s, yours will beat through theirs. If you're both playing 3 mana 3/3s, yours will beat theirs as well. So this card is very good. I'm definitely not going to play Shatterglass Mage. I'm not going to be able to. I don't think I should try and splash this. I think that's too ambitious. Time Weaver is good, but I think my curve is too high at the moment. I'm just going to slam this Minotaur Oathkeeper and not look back. Another mortar. Tyler Stranger is perfectly playable. If I do splash blue, I can play Vanguard, but green and Justice and Time decks aren't known for flying creatures, so this will likely not be pumping anything else. The Skycrack Stranger also helps me splash blue, and the Horus Stranger also helps me splash blue. But if I pick up a bunch of Skycrack Strangers, I can actually splash the mortar. Or I can just go ahead and take the Tireless Stranger, which is a pretty safe pick. Let's just take the Tireless Stranger. 3 mana 3/3, perfectly fine. There we go. We ward it with another Stranger. Justice and Time have very good Strangers, so I think this is a good segue to go into a bit of a sub-theme for Strangers. passing up on a very, very good Copper or Cudgel. I think, actually, I think these two cards are really close. They're really close. But I'm a big, big fan of the Battle Test the Stranger. I'm gonna take the Stranger over the Cudgel just because this is an unconditional card. You can always play it, and it's always a 4/4, whereas you need a unit in play to put this on. And if you do put it onto a unit, they can still silence it. Doesn't happen very often, but it happens. And I have nothing that really benefits from having a weapon on it. I don't have any flying units to carry it. And putting it onto a ground unit, sometimes you attack into it as a 5/5 or 6/6. They double block with two creatures, you kill one, you lose your unit, get a 2/2 Minotaur. This is probably best if you have a very good evasive unit to put it onto. So let's just go ahead with the Battle Test Stranger. Oh, this is very good. This card is very strong. It's a very heavy tempo swing as well. And it has Revenge. Alright, let's just go ahead and take that 5-drop. Now that I have another 5-drop, it makes me regret taking another 5-drop in Battle Test the Stranger a little bit. Not gonna take an 8-drop, that's too expensive. A Bring Down would be a perfectly viable splash card if I plan to splash blue. So let's just go ahead and take the Bring Down as a potential splash option. I'm not gonna play Tinker. Yeah, I'm not gonna play Tinker, but there's no other cards where I can play. I guess I'll take the Tinker with the expectation that I'm not going to need to play this. Perfect, more Strangers. I'm definitely going to take this Stranger over the other cards. Now I have a very real possibility of splashing the Bring Down, or even the Ice Bowl or the Levitate. None of these cards are playable in my deck, so let's just take the blue card here. Both of these cards are very good, but I'll take the unit over the weapon, I think. Yeah, once again, I don't have very many good units to put this on. Putting it onto a ground unit that's kind of medium-sized doesn't seem amazing to me. Let's just get an invasive threat. Oh, Sandstorm is very good. Let's take that. Here, I'll take the weapon with the expectation that I'm not going to play it. Alright, so this is the pack. Wow. Wow. Okay, we'll take this. But this pack, we know that time is going to be open, so we can look forward to some good time cards. But there may not be any green cards because on the second pack, we didn't see a lot of good green coming this way. We saw a lot of good time coming this way. Okay, so we slammed the Reality Warden. It's on color. It's 5 mana 7/7. Can't ask for more than that. Oh, Desert Marshal is also very good, but so is Healer's Cloak. Both cards are quite good. I'm going to take the Desert Marshal for the same reason I chose the Valkyrie Militant over the weapon. It's a creature, it's a unit, and silencing effects are very powerful. It's a pseudo removal spells against flyers, and having more interaction early game like this is very good. Ooh, district. Oh, I was looking at the district inventory and these uncommon and rares here, but Awakened Student is clearly the pick. We're just gonna slam that and not look back. Inspires mediocre. Watchwing is okay. Save Return is not bad, but not a card I like to play. Refresh is actually not bad as a combat trick, but with no Life Force to benefit. Well, you would have to use it on yourself to benefit from Life Force, but I think I have enough playable cards that this wouldn't make the deck anyway. I think the only card that might make the deck is the Loyal Watchwing, and even then it's unlikely. So let's just go ahead and take it, the off chance that we might want to play a flyer. Oh, Unlock Potential is very good. I think we'll just slam the Unlock Potential here. We have a unit heavy deck. We have a fairly low curve. We're very aggressive. This card is perfect for decks like ours. And if we have Unlock Potential, we don't need to play tricks like Synchronized Strike, which is just inferior. The other possible option is Seek Power, but as a 2-color deck, already with and a very aggressive early game 2-color deck with some fixing already, and we don't even need to play the blue. unlock potential is just too strong. Oh wow, Vanquish is absolutely fantastic. So let's just snag that Vanquish. And then here, we don't need this Treasury Guard, but we don't know if we'll be splashing blue, so we'll just take it. Now I really want to splash blue, because this card is actually quite good. So let's just grab it. And then now I have a very strong incentive to play blue, because the hatchling is quite good. 3 time to play this versus a 5 mana 3/3 flyer. My 5 drops are actually really overcrowded, so let's just grab the 3/3. None of these cards matter. I like Sabotage. It has a really cool picture. Another Synchronized Strike. Alright, I think we made the right call to jump into time on the second pack. I know we went back and forth a lot. We had a bit of a identity crisis in the first and most of second pack. We were sure if we were blue. We don't know if we were red. We picked up a red card. We picked up a blue card. But I think in the end, it really is time that was the right choice, because on the second pack, time was very open. So we got all the good time cards on the fourth pack as well. Unfortunately, we didn't get the best time cards, which are basically the 5/4 Echoing Dinosaur and the 5 mana 6/5 Dinosaur. I think those are the real good cards you want to get. But I think because our deck is low curved and very aggressive, we're okay getting some of the lower curve aggressive cards. Oh, we also have an Amber Acolyte, which will allow us to splash blue if we need to. So let's see what this deck looks like. Now that I picked up a Minotaur Oathkeeper, I no longer have the need to play the Steadfast Deputy, because I can search for this with my Press Gang. Not gonna play the 0/7. Let's just throw these cards in there and then start making cuts afterwards. 27 cards. So without splashing blue, I have exactly enough playables. I would play 28 lands with this deck because of the huge number of 5 drops I have. So this deck is looking like it's already pretty good. Now, because we have 2 Horror Strangers and an Amber Acolyte, let's take a look what blue gives us. Ice Bowl is good. Levitate, maybe not worth splashing, but Ice Bowl is very good. And oh no, the Hatchling is what you would splash if we're splashing blue. Even the Bring Down, actually, both of these are splashable. So what does the deck look like if I splash both of those? What can I cut? 23 units is a little... Oh, okay, so the Treasure Guard is a very easy cut. And even the Loyal Watchwing or the Tireless Stranger are easy cuts. Not the Stranger, actually, because I have the Battle Tested Stranger, so we'll keep that in. But maybe we'll cut the Loyal Watchwing. That's 27 cards. That gives us 2 and 3 blue sources without any dual lands. This is looking pretty good. I think I will splash the blue for the Bring Down, because we only have a couple of flyer defense, although we do have a silencing effect here and a silencing effect here to bring down flyers. Oh, also a sandstorm to bring down flyers. So maybe we don't need to bring down. We actually have a lot of answers. We already have 2 silence effects and multiple ways to bring down flyers. Maybe we don't need this bring down. Let's just add another card back in. I guess we'll add the Loyal Watchwing back in. Some Warcry trigger doesn't hurt, I guess. Or we're gonna add a Synchronized Strike, because we have already quite a few units. But we already have a Finest Hour and a Strength of Many. So we already have 2 combat tricks, and I don't want to have too many combat tricks. And even an Unlock Potential. No, this is fine. I think this deck, like this, is quite good. Let's just throw the lands in and see what it looks like. Okay, this gives me 6 blue sources to splash a single blue card. I think that's too much. I think 5 is more than enough. This gives me 9 green sources and 7. That gives me 11 green sources and 7 time. Whereas I actually think I need time even more because of the Sand Warrior. Although I do have a 1-drop that is green. So maybe just go 8 and 8. Actually, I may not be able to even cast the Sand Warrior very consistently. Let's take that Warrior out and see what else we can put in. Maybe with this easy of a blue splash, I can just play the Bring Down. I think so. Or another Synchronized Strike. Yeah, let's just play Synchronized Strike then and get the Bring Down out of here. Okay, so there's our deck. 8-8 split seems okay. Actually, now that I took out the Sandstorm Warrior, whatever it's called, I now have a slightly lower need for time. So let's just go back to 9, 7, and 2. This is 18 lands, which I think I need because my curve is actually pretty high. A lot of my cards are pretty expensive. And this deck is quite good. 21 units with a couple of combat tricks and a way to pump them. There's some good synergies between my sub theme for strangers. I have a solid removal spell in Vanquish, and also the tricks act as removal. I have a way to deal with Flyers and Sandstorm, which is a cantrip. I have units that grow, very aggressive and very early, 2 silencing effect, a couple of Flyers, and then finally just some very powerful fatties on the top end, and a kind of a game-ending card in Flight Lieutenant. I think this deck is very good. I think I would rate this curve is also quite nice. A very high 2-drop curve coming down with a bit of a bump on 5. I would rate this deck 7 out of 10. To get any better, we're going to have to get some bombs in there. And I think if we had been able to draft a few of the 5 and 6-drop fatties in time, I would give this deck maybe an 8 or 9. But because we didn't get those, I think 7 out of 10 is a pretty good rating. I would have also liked to pick up a couple more copies of Minotaur Oathkeeper as well. Although for fatties, we have a 5 mana 7/7, which is kind of ridiculous. So this deck is quite good. I'm pretty excited to play games with this deck. I'll record the gameplay videos separately. As always, thank you very much for watching my videos. If you like what you see, give me a like, a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click that subscribe button. And also feel free to browse my channel for other videos as well. I am also at the same time making a video for the Temporary Alliance event. So keep an eye open for that as well. Thanks for watching.